The land of China, with 5,000 years of civilization. There are various legends and myths circulating. Some are the working people's yearning for a better life, but some are things that have really happened in the past. Among these myths and legends that once really happened, the story of the mysterious sect Tianqian sect using its own abilities to help Emperor Xianyuan resist foreign invasion has been submerged in the long river of history, and no one remembers it. With the rapid development of science and technology, scenes that could only appear in myths and legends in ancient times have gradually become a part of our daily lives. More and more phenomena that were previously considered supernatural or supernatural have been given scientific explanations. Nowadays, human beings are no longer limited to exploring our existing material space, but have extended the tentacles of curiosity to more unknown areas, and finally touched the ancient legend of Benyuan that has been sealed in the long river of history. Some American scientists have previously confirmed through experiments that the weight of the human soul is 21 grams. Some people say that the weight of the soul is just like the weight of each person. It is said that when Taoists reach a certain level during their cultivation, they can let their souls leave their bodies and have boundless power, allowing them to do many things that humans cannot do. What exactly is the so-called soul or soul? If people do have souls or souls, then where do they go after they die? If the soul and spirit are in our body when we are alive, can we prove his existence? In fact, as early as the beginning of the 20th century, various countries began to set up research institutions to conduct in-depth research in this field. For more than 100 years, research is still continuing, but the real research results and progress have always been secrets among secrets, and no one has ever leaked a trace to the outside world. In China, a scientific research team headed by Professor Chu Haid has, through years of research on human consciousness, extensively confirmed the transmission and reception of ideas and concluded that when the human brain generates consciousness, it is accompanied by the generation of energy. This energy will not only exist in the brain for a short period of time, but can also be transmitted. This is why some people's consciousness affects others. But no one has been able to find a verification or a scientific explanation for how the energy of consciousness is transmitted in our material space. So Professor Chu Haid made a bold guess that there is likely to be a non-material space coexisting around our space, and the energy generated by consciousness is likely to be transmitted in this space. Part 1, Past 1 Accident. Have you ever seen Junzhou City at 3 in the morning? Of course, because I'm here now. Cheng, who walked out of the old office building, thought of this classic saying that had been circulated for many years and smiled self-deprecatingly at the empty road in front of him. The breath in his mouth seemed to be frozen, and he stopped in front of him for a moment before slowly dissipating. Even a bustling and noisy international metropolis like Junzhou cannot escape being shrouded in darkness and silence at this moment. On the cold streets, only the street lights on both sides are left, still fighting with all their strength, struggling to disperse the surrounding darkness. Cheng walked along the double yellow line in the middle of the empty road. He felt that the whole street belonged to him alone. He looked up at the stars in the sky. He unconsciously opened his arms as he walked, as if he was about to walk into the bright galaxy. The air inhaled into his lungs was moist and cold. It felt like the early morning in the woods near Tianqian Village, the Tianqian Village where he had lived since childhood, and the Tianqian Village that did not exist at all to the world. Cheng closed his eyes and let his thoughts return to the woods outside Tianqian Village and the scene when he finally left the village. You are no longer members of the Tianqian sect. From now on, you can no longer step into our Tianqian Village, let alone use your original abilities. From now on, you have to rely on your own physical and mental strength to survive in the outside world. We have done everything we can to help you. I wish you a happy life in the future, and be sure to take good care of yourself. These were the last words Elder Xinguang said to Cheng and Fang Bauer before leaving. Cheng Han and Fang Bauer were the first couple in the entire Tianqian sect in the past 1,000 years to swear a vow to voluntarily give up their identity as members of the Tianqian sect in order to stay with each other, and to promise not to use their original abilities again in this life. According to Elder Xinguang, the previous pair of clan elders who took the same oath as them and left Tianqian village happened during the Song dynasty 1,000 years ago. Today, it has been 7 years since Cheng Han and Fang Bauer left Tianqian village, and their son Cheng Fang is already a first-grade primary school student. In such a social environment with comprehensive internet information coverage and clear big data, being able to provide a reasonable identity for two young people who appeared out of thin air, and even the children can be born normally and register as registered permanent residents, is enough to demonstrate the capabilities of the Tianqian sect. This is what Elder Xinguang said, their last help to Cheng Han and Fang Bauer. In this real society with huge life pressure and unable to use their own unique abilities, the two of them need to put in more effort and hardship to survive than ordinary people who are used to this kind of high pressure and strong competitive relationship. On a day like the 6th day of the Lunar New Year, there are indeed not many people who work as hard as Cheng Han. Most of those who are still awake at this time are either in front of the TV at home or gathered in a bar to watch the live broadcast of the Winter Olympics closing ceremony. No one wants to walk on the empty road at this time. In recent months, Cheng Han has been working until the early hours of the morning. As a founder, his software project has gone from an initial 10-person team to only him and IT partner Zhao Puguang struggling to support it. They don't know how far they can go with this kind of maintenance method that even the users themselves have to take care of. It seems that their persistence in this mobile software no longer regards the success of the project as the goal, but it's just the inertia that the two have developed in the past few years. The night bus is the only means of transportation for Cheng Han to go home. He leaves the company at 3 o'clock and walks 5 minutes to the station. The bus will arrive immediately. After getting on the bus, he will be home in about 20 minutes. This happens every day. Cheng Han has become accustomed to this routine during this period. Sure enough, after walking to the station, within 2 minutes the lights of the night bus appeared in the distance. Night buses are different from those during the day, perhaps because there are fewer passengers. They use old-fashioned driverless buses. The glass windows around these buses are particularly large, allowing you to see the surroundings clearly. As the bus got closer and closer, Cheng Han secretly wondered why he couldn't see the light from behind through the windshield of the bus today. It wasn't until the car was about to drive in front of him that Cheng Han saw clearly that the car was so packed with people that he couldn't even see the light of the streetlight on the other side of the window. The bus stopped in front of Cheng Han. When the door opened, the two people in the door with their backs to Cheng Han were squeezed out. Fortunately, they both held the door tightly with their hands and did not fall to the ground. Seeing this posture, Cheng Han knew that he would definitely not be able to get on the bus today, so he simply walked a few steps, pushed his hands on the backs of the two people who were already hanging outside the car, and shouted, "Come in, close the door." He said with his arms strong. He pushed the two of them back into the car. Just a second before the car door closed, Cheng Han withdrew his hands. The next bus would have to wait for at least an hour. Watching the night bus go away, with no tail lights in sight, Cheng Han knew that instead of waiting here, it would be better to run back directly and stretch his muscles along the way. Thinking of this, Cheng Han stretched his limbs. When he lowered his head, he saw an old-fashioned candy bar mobile phone lying on the ground. This must have been dropped by one of the two people at the door when the bus opened the door just now. Cheng Han picked up his phone and opened the screen to find that there was no password set. He had no intention of snooping into other people's privacy, so he put his cell phone in the pocket of his down jacket and quickly chased her in the direction of the night bus. While chasing, I thought, I don't know when the next bus will come anyway. The route I followed this bus happened to be my route home. If I could find the owner, it would be a good thing. If I couldn't find it, just think of it as running home. The night bus speed set by the autonomous driving system is much higher than the bus speed during the day, but Cheng Han still saw the back of the bus at the third stop. Seeing that no one got off the bus at the first 3 stops, Cheng Han concluded that the owner of the phone was probably still on the bus, so he sped up and chased after it, intending to catch up with it as soon as possible. When a rapid and loud whistle came from behind Cheng Han, he realized that he had been running on the motorway. Just as he changed his route and ran to the side of the road, a red SUV passed Cheng Han with a long and sharp whistle. An ordinary person would have been unable to avoid the situation just now. Even Cheng Han was almost knocked over by the airflow brought by the car. However, the car showed no intention of slowing down and sped forward. Today, with the popularity of self-driving vehicles, the speed of all vehicles is limited according to different requirements of the road section while driving and is uniformly controlled by computers. The word speeding rarely appears on today's roads. So there are some people who specifically choose to drive modified human-driven vehicles in the dead of night, looking for the thrill of speeding. Cheng Han took a few steps to the roadside and stood firm. The bus in the distance had already pulled into the stop. Only one person got off the bus at the stop. Due to the distance, he couldn't see the person's face clearly. He only saw that the person was very anxious after getting off the bus. He walked directly around the front of the bus and ran to the opposite side of the road without observing the situation on the road at all. When Cheng Han saw that the red SUV that almost hit him just now was accelerating to overtake from the left side of the bus, he knew that something was wrong. If he used the abilities of the Tianqian sect, in this case, it would be effortless for Cheng Han to save this person. However, in order to be with Fong Bauer, he had given up his identity as a member of the Tianqian sect, and he could not use any of the abilities of the Tianqian sect. In desperation, Cheng Han could only shout with all his strength, "Be careful of the car." But after all, the distance was too far, and the shouting had no effect. With a loud noise, Cheng Han watched as the man was hit high by the car. His body spun unnaturally in the air for half a circle before falling heavily to the ground. But the red SUV still didn't slow down and disappeared from Cheng Han's sight in an instant. The driverless bus did not react in any way to the accident that occurred next to it. It still drove out of the station indifferently according to the program. The commotion of the passengers on the bus could be seen in the distance. Someone was probably calling the police or emergency number. Part 1. Past 2 Forum. Cheng Han rushed forward and saw a young man about his own age lying unconscious in the middle of the road. This place is very close to where Cheng Han lives, and he is relatively familiar with it. He glanced at the illuminated sign of the Central Hospital exposed in the buildings diagonally across the road. Cheng Han walked up quickly without thinking too much, knelt down, picked up the man with both hands, and ran towards the buildings diagonally across the road. It was 1 stop from the station to the hospital. Carrying a young man weighing 1,560 pounds and wearing heavy clothes, it would have been difficult for ordinary people to walk only 50 meters, let alone after chasing the bus for 4 stops. But Cheng Han is not an ordinary person. He grew up in Tianqian village, and his physical abilities and reactions in all aspects have already far exceeded that of ordinary people. Even running long distances with a heavy load didn't show any signs of strenuousness, and the young man was carried to the hospital's emergency room in one breath. There were very few patients in the hospital. When the nurses and doctors on duty saw Cheng Han coming in with an injured person in his arms, they quickly pushed the hospital bed and sent the young man directly to the emergency room. Through the glass, Cheng Han saw the doctors and nurses inside busy rescuing the young man, and he felt a little more at ease. But more than 20 minutes later, when the traffic police arrived at the hospital, the young man had already passed away. Cheng Han felt an indescribable feeling in his heart as he looked at the young man being pushed out of the emergency room. Although they were strangers, I felt very uncomfortable because I failed to save a young life. After all, I was capable of saving him under the circumstances at that time. The conversation with the traffic police went much better than Cheng Han expected. He didn't explain too much about his relationship with the deceased, because the person who called the police on the bus had already described the situation at the scene very clearly. After talking with the traffic police, Cheng Han learned that this young man's name was Xiao Guifeng. He was the same age as himself and was alone in Junzhou City without any relatives or reasons. After a simple inquiry and leaving his contact information with the traffic police, Cheng Han left the hospital and walked home. The street was still empty, with not a single figure. Looking at the sidewalk not far from him, thinking that a young life had passed away like this, Cheng Han couldn't help but sigh in his heart at the fragility of life. It was a pity that he couldn't use his Tianqian sex-ability, otherwise it would be effortless to save Xiao Guifeng. At home, his wife Feng Bauer and son Cheng Feng had gone to bed early. In order not to affect their mother and son's rest, Cheng Han slept alone during this time. Just as he was cautiously opening the door, Cheng Han was startled by a notification tone. It was not his cell phone ringtone. Only then did Cheng Han remember that the mobile phone he had just picked up at the bus station was still in his down jacket pocket and that the notification sound was coming from it. Cheng Han found that there was no password set on the phone. After opening the phone, he saw a forum space called Xian Forum. There were already 33 questions from the owner of the phone. Cheng Han had no intention of snooping into the contents of other people's mobile phones. He just wanted to find the call records and contact the owner. But when I looked through the address book, I found that there was not even a single contact in the phone, no call records, and no text messages. All the applications had been deleted, leaving only the app of this forum. It seemed that this phone was not used for daily communication. It was probably used specifically for visiting this forum. Looking through the photo album on the phone, I found that there was only one handsome selfie photo in it. The person in the photo was none other than Xiao Guifeng, who had just been in an accident. It seemed that this was really his phone. Cheng Han turned around and prepared to return to the hospital, handing his phone to the hospital so that his family could take it away when they came to pick him up. Just as he was about to turn around and return, a new message came into Cheng Han's eyes. "Master, do you think the space where the soul lives is the same as the space where we humans live?" This was a question posed to Xiao Guifeng in the Xian Forum on his mobile phone. Seeing this message, Cheng Han stopped and opened Xiao Guifeng's personal page unconsciously. This is a non-real name forum. Xiao Guifeng's nickname in this forum is Master. He is very popular. There are many posts in the forum, and the exchanges are very active. Although he is not the owner of this forum, it can be seen that the core figure of this forum is Xiao Guifeng. After looking through some of the opinions and articles previously published by Xiao Guifeng, Cheng Han was really surprised. These contents completely described the origin and origin space that the Tianqian sect had guarded for thousands of years. But whether it was from the choice of words or Xiao Guifeng's physical reaction after the traffic accident, Xiao Guifeng was definitely not a member of the Tianqian sect. And although these contents are very close to the real original space, there's still a big gap. It should be said that they have not touched the truly valuable content. Cheng Han knew that there were many people in the world who had the same idea. When you think of something or know that someone has thought of something, you can basically be sure that many people have already thought of it. However, it is indeed not easy to come across content that is so close to the facts, and the probability of encountering it yourself is almost lower than winning a lottery ticket. Holding his mobile phone, Cheng Han watched it at the door of his house for 10 minutes. Xiao Guifeng is gone now. If this phone is returned, it is estimated that no one in this forum will continue to make comments like Xiao Guifeng, and this forum may become depressed and fend for itself. However, looking at the current popularity of the forum, it is estimated that it will be difficult to remain silent for a short time. If there are witch doctors and magicians who use this forum to post some misleading content, it may cause serious consequences. Instead of doing this, it is better for me to replace Xiao Guifeng. Anyway, no one knows the true identity of the master. In this way, I can spread some real things that can be used by outsiders through this forum. This can be regarded as fulfilling Xiao Guifeng's wish. This seemingly long 10 minutes was no less than a fierce war in Cheng Han's heart. As a man who has been taught by his family elders since childhood, The family rules have become a part of his life. You cannot mention the Tianqian sect to anyone outside the family, let alone reveal or use your Tianqian sect abilities in front of outsiders. This is an iron rule that every Tianqian sect member must abide by. Although he and Fong Bauer left Tianqian village, the oath they made before leaving reminded him of his words and deeds all the time. At present, such a mature communication environment and a completely anonymous identity really made Cheng Han tempted. If I publish content in this forum as Zhao Guifeng, no one will know who I am. As long as I don't mention the key content, it shouldn't be against the rules, and it can help more people. Although he had made up his mind, Cheng Han felt that he should discuss it with his wife Fong Bauer, so he turned off the phone and put it back in his pocket, went into the house and closed the door. Part 1. Past 3. Coma. When Cheng Fong was over 6 years old, he was full of energy. This was his first winter vacation after school, so it was particularly precious to him. He wanted to use all the time to play with Cheng Han and Fong Bauer, so he got up very early every day. In this one-bedroom hut with an area of more than 40 square meters, Cheng Han had not slept well for a long time. But today it was not Cheng Fong who came to the living room to wake up Cheng Han, but Fong Bauer. "Brother, get up quickly. See if Fong has reached the coma stage." Fong Bauer and Cheng Han grew up in Tianqian village as childhood sweethearts. People in the Tianqian sect usually refer to each other as senior brothers or senior uncles. This habit of calling them since childhood is difficult to change. After hearing this, Cheng Han seemed a little excited. He got up and went straight to the bed where Cheng Fong was sleeping in the back room. He first reached out and touched Cheng Fong's forehead, then felt Cheng Fong's breath, and then turned Cheng Fong over, who was lying on the bed. The two of them carefully observed the position of the back of Cheng Fong's head and could see a dark red mark vaguely appearing on the back of Cheng Fong's head, which seemed to be the character Yuan in Oracle Bone inscriptions. The two horizontal lines on the character Yuan are slightly bent downward and upward respectively, forming an unsealed oval shape. The horizontal strokes are above the strokes, and several small branches protrude from the strokes, just like two tree roots. What forms these root systems are square blood vessels. Well, it seems that he has entered a coma. Cheng Han asked Cheng Fong's body to return to a flat position. Fortunately, it's a holiday. If it were school time, we really don't know how to ask for leave, Fong Bauer said with a smile. Cheng Han also smiled after hearing this, covered Cheng Fong with a quilt, turned around and asked Fong Bauer, "How many days do you think Fong will be here?" "It took 4 or 5 days for us back then, but Fong must have taken a week," Fong Bauer said with a proud smile on his face. After hearing this, Cheng Han said with a smile, "You're pretty. It's said that our elder Xingguang was only 6 days old back then, so I'll be satisfied if my son is better than us." Fong Bauer smiled after hearing this, and then turned to melancholy and said, "It's a pity that we are no longer members of the Tianqian sect. No matter how good Fonger's foundation is, he has no chance to have the abilities of our Tianqian sect." At this moment, Cheng Han suddenly remembered what happened last night. He quickly got up and went to the door,